Today was the culmination of the spark that ignited this trip, Banff and Jasper. I believe I was as far north as I was going to go on this current journey. The ride from Banff to Jasper, while only about 200 miles, amounted to over 6 hours on the road. The day was full of immense natural beauty. The Canadian Rockies are immense and occupy a region far and wide. In no time, I found myself escaping the Trans-Canada Highway 1 for 1A, the lesser traveled Bow Valley Parkway on the way to Lake Louise. What a great ride. The air was filled with the scent of Christmas in August. The undulations of the road, well, that produced a rhythm that was peaceful. The massive peaks of the Rockies were ever present. As I arrived in Lake Louise, the fancy Fairmont Chateau was off to the side. The glacial water and the canoes drifting across with what appeared to be a glacier as a backdrop didn't seem real. A picture painted by the universe.
I don't know if it's on selfie mode. Hold on, it's not selfie mode. There it goes. Stay there.
Heading to Moraine Lake, it was an entity in and of itself. I was mesmerized by the glistening turquoise water. The twinkling of the sun on the lake was like a constellation of stars in the night sky. I ate lunch outside by the lodge, chatting with fellow travelers and enjoying letting the time pass. It was effortless. Leaving Moraine Lake, I was on the Icefields Parkway, 93, heading toward Jasper. The mountains took a different form and the terrain changed as I made my way closer to Jasper. The peaks were tall and the mountains massive. Now, the tops of the mountains at times gave a feeling of a lunar landscape, something extraworldly. A brief stop at Peyto Lake, navigating the tourists, I snapped a bunch of pictures. The colors, so turquoise, it looked as if the universe itself was enhancing what I was seeing in real time. How could these colors happen in nature at such a scale? The vastness of the area that contains the Rockies is only rivaled by the sheer awesomeness of the mountain peaks, alpine lakes, and glaciers. Glistening turquoise lakes of glacial water, ice-capped jagged mountain peaks, and seafoam glacial rivers of runoff flowing down from those high peaks was the setting for this day. Where to begin without sounding like a laundry list of cool stuff? Riding the Icefields Parkway and passing by the Columbia Icefield reminded me that what I was seeing was uniquely this place. The landscape, the terrain, the colors, and the sheer ominous presence of the glaciers were specific to this part of the world. The fast-moving seafoam green glacial water flowed through fields of streams on the side of the road. If not for the road, I don't see how this land could be easily navigated. There was no climax to having arrived in Jasper, just the recognition that I was there. I did it. It was a good feeling, and my attention turned to finding a hotel, a shower, and a beer. Fast forward to the community table at the Jasper Brewery, the cold IPA, and a conversation with a newly married couple from Edmonton. The day was complete. The adventure would continue. I left Jasper and it was a brisk, sunny morning. When you're listening to a good song and feeling the vibe, you're not concerned with the notes or the arrangement. You're feeling the music. The song moves your soul. You experience it and you feel it without any judgment and without the need to label it in any way. That's how I was feeling about this trip and the ride this day. Moving through the landscape on the motorcycle, I contemplated what I was feeling. I was searching for words, possibly words I had written previously in this journal, or words that I read in a book over the years. I was searching for words to label, to model, to characterize, to try and explain what I was feeling. I was searching for that eloquent soliloquy in my head that would speak to the experience I was having. It struck me plainly. I was simply being. I was a being simply being. No words necessary and no explanation needed. The music of my life was playing. Why be concerned about the notes? By the time I arrived in Kelowna, more than half of the 6.5 hours of riding was in the rain. I was wet, muddy, and physically spent. Yet the ride was a blink of an eye. Most of the day, like the previous days riding in Canada, have been through remote and rugged terrain with grand views. Today, I spent most of my time in British Columbia, a new province for me. The landscape changed to include more forest views, and the colors of the lakes no longer had those glacial hues. I was feeling joyful and at the same time still. Even as I traversed the gears of the motorcycle, through corners and straightaways, turning the throttle, leaning the bike side to side, velocity constantly changing, and yet there was a stillness. What was it like? I guess you'd have to be there. How often have we used or heard that expression? It's because words fail and fall short. Explain what wine or food tastes like, or tell me what the song sounds like, or what the color of a flower looks like. It's all words. It's the being and experiencing that matters. In the moment, there are no words necessary. Kelowna and the Okanagan Lake area in British Columbia's wine region, need I say any more? After sampling some of the wine while in Banff and hearing about the rave reviews, it was an easy decision. A large number of boutique wineries in the Okanagan area and Kelowna made it a great base camp for a double overnight. I woke up early, which was easier since I gained an extra hour crossing into British Columbia yesterday. Learning about the Kelowna area and the wines, I quickly booked a wine tour for the day. It would be a tasting at 5 vineyards on Okanagan Lake and a stop for lunch. The bike was parked and I was ready. My ride arrived. The amount of money invested in the vineyards in this area to me was staggering, given the production and limited distribution. Opulent tasting rooms and bistro restaurants, all with great tunes playing in the background, and most importantly, drinkable and enjoyable wines across a range of varieties. I could only deduce that the owners made their money elsewhere and the vineyard was their passion. As a consumer and enthusiast, I was just happy to enjoy the surroundings and great food, as well as the impressive wines. Definitely a place I will come back to. After a full day of indulging, I headed to downtown Kelowna and Okanagan Lake. I was dropped off by the tour guide and said my farewells to the group. I walked around Kelowna by the lake. People were swimming, walking about, and it seemed like everyone had an ice cream cone. It was a day full of unexpected surprises about a region I didn't anticipate. This was an area that would warrant another visit one day soon. Tomorrow, I was going to visit some friends in Washington State before exploring the rugged coast into Oregon. I crossed the border into the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. to touch the Pacific Ocean once again.